Hello and welcome to Nothing Files. So my plan today was I was going to drive down to the theater and see that Poltergeist remake. Because, love horror movies and Sam Raimi Ghost House Pictures. I want to support that. But, reading reviews and just thinking about it, do I really want to see another rehashed horror movie that I really liked made not near as good 20 years later? And I decided, no, I don't. I went to see Mad Max again. That's an awesome film. And admittedly, that is sort of a rehashing of an old series, but it's done fantastically well with complete recasting. I mean, Mel Gibson's not in it. Thank God these days. But it really got me thinking about this whole trend of remaking horror films and when it works and when it doesn't. And unfortunately, more often than not, it doesn't. You can think of a great example, in my opinion, of a horror movie reboot that worked well, and that was the Friday the 13th reboot, where Derek Mears was Jason. I think he did a great job. But one of the reasons I think that worked so well is you have Jason, this faceless killer, who also throughout all these films, up until Kane Hodder, was played by a different actor in every movie. It wasn't until Kane Hodder's love of the character and wanting to come back that he really fleshed out a lot of Jason's mannerisms, affectations, and sort of gave us the Jason Voorhees we know and love. However, you look at some of these other reboots that have horribly failed, and it's for good reason. Something like the Nightmare on Elm Street series with Robert Englund's Freddy Krueger being rebooted by Jackie Earle Haley's Freddy Krueger. Boy, did that not work. And it wasn't just Jackie Earle Haley's fault. I mean, I really liked him in The Watchmen. He's a talented actor. Even what was he recently in that I saw? Something his arm gets cut off. Maybe Avengers 2. I don't know, I forget. But that guy's normally pretty decent. It was Avengers 2. Haha, memory. But you look at these characters, Doug Bradley's Pinhead's an excellent example, where these slashers that talk, that have a personality, that's really hard to recast. Because you get used to who this character is, how Robert Englund does Freddy, how Doug Bradley will tear your soul apart. That was the worst impression I've ever done. I normally do a better Doug Bradley, but anyway, let's keep going. So, how do we move these horror franchises forward? Or do we? And that's sort of my problem. There's so many remakes these days, especially, like I said, in the horror genre. And you see it in other movies, or genres of films, but perhaps, well, maybe not romantic comedies, because same rehashed ideas, they just repackage it and sell it to you every summer. But comedies even, you're seeing the Ghostbusters being rebooted. We're getting the National Lampoon's Vacation coming back. And it's not that I'm not excited about those films, but damn if I don't want some original horror. And it's not like there aren't good things coming out. I mean, you look at Trick or Treat, you look at Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, and the Hatchet series. There's some really fantastic new horror concepts being sold to us that aren't just slasher finds, hot chicks get naked, then get killed. Which, don't get me wrong, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it bothers me that something like Behind the Mask, which was a brilliant film, tried to crowdsource a second film before The Mask, and it didn't make the money to do it. As long as Trick or Treat was stuck in development hell, now its sequel seems to be pushed back farther and farther. And you want to talk about new properties, Hack Slash. How good could that movie be? Cassie Hack, Vlad, I know they're on board. They've been developing it. Hell, even for a while, I think, I'm not sure if it was a rumor or not, but Megan Fox was attached to be Cassie Hack. I would tune in for that. That would be a fantastic film. I'll probably see it 3 or 4 times in theaters, and I think fans would identify with it. I don't know what the issue with horror is. It always used to be that these were movies you could make on a low budget and have a great return. New Line Cinema, the company that brought us the Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Hobbits in the way that we know them now, that's the house that Freddy built. Without your Nightmare on Elm Streets, you wouldn't have that series that so many of you love. And hell, I love them too. They're great movies. Peter Jackson does a great job. Again, got his start in horror. Dead Alive, to this day, one of my favorite zombie films of all time. It's brilliant. But where do we sit now? Where are we today with what's coming out in horror? I did a search, looked at trailers. You know what? It's not that exciting. Got that movie where the girl gets bullied and kills herself and then haunts people online. Okay, that's not necessarily that new. And they stole the poor screenwriter's whole idea anyway and repackaged it without giving him any money for it. That's not so cool. I honestly don't know any other big horror films that are coming out. Okay, they're going to make a Scream show for MTV. The mask looks dumb. I've seen it. The Scream mask was pretty good. It was iconic. It worked. You want to create a new universe, sort of a recreation of what it was? Come on, man. I mean, I'm excited that we're getting finally Ash versus the Evil Dead TV series. That'll be really cool. And that's another example of a reboot I think worked. I mean, the original Evil Dead, they tried to make it scary. Just Sam Raimi didn't have a great budget and liked beating the hell out of Bruce Campbell. That's why they reshot Evil Dead 2 and made it funnier. It's basically the same film, just with more slapstick. So the Evil Dead remake that came out a few years ago, which is actually terrifying, that's probably more in line with the film they set out to make, had they the budget and the movie creation experience to make that film. So, you know, you can say, well, it doesn't have Ash, doesn't have Bruce Campbell. I fucking love Bruce Campbell. That guy's awesome. I love those movies. But it was nice to see what Evil Dead would be, how the Necronomicon would really screw things up. If it wasn't just some claymation deadites and, you know, Sam Raimi's brother in a fat suit being swung around the ceiling while sweat tears out a pore in the, or pours out a tear in the back of his suit. So, I guess I'm sort of at an impasse on this. I'm a huge horror fan. I want to see more horror content coming out. I want jump scares. I want gore. I want to say Knock Knock looks okay because I really like Eli Roth, but come on. And then Rob Zombie, how promising was he? House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, oh my god, they looked fantastic. Then he gives me a Halloween reboot. Come on, dude. Visually, it's really cool. And if you would have named it anything other than Halloween, I would have been completely behind it. But you know, don't you remember the prequels? Star Wars, obviously. I don't want to see Michael Myers as a little kid. I don't want to see his white trash mom and his abusive stepdad. I don't want to know why he's the Shape. Michael Myers was effective because he was the boogeyman. He was the Shape. You don't know why he's killing. You don't really know any of his motivations other than he's this unrelenting force that's coming for you. And that's terrifying. You can take that and dump all of whatever fears you bring with you into that package, and he's the embodiment of that. That's brilliant. But then you give me all this, I mean, in the first one, this exposition of him as a kid. You know what I really want? I want a really good actor like Donald Pleasance as Dr. Loomis saying, you know, I looked into that boy's eyes and I saw darkness. Awesome. Okay, that's what I need. I don't need to see, you know, like, well, his mom was a stripper and, you know, his drunk stepdad was a piece of shit. There was a screaming baby the whole time. And then he gave me the second one and there's like this fucking horse and his mom's a ghost. I don't even know. Come on. You would have named those movies something other than Halloween, made him not Michael Myers. Yeah, man, I would have been into that. That's a cool story because you were so far away, other than Michael Myers and Laurie Strode in name only, from the original franchise, I probably could have got behind it. Saying they're Halloween, that gassed me out. And then you did, you know, the Lords of Salem, that witch film. Boy, did I want to like that. Rob Zombie, I want to believe. I want to believe. I think he still got it. I just want to see it. And maybe, you know, 31 or some number, your next film. I want to like it. I really do. Looks creepy. Looks like you're getting back to that dirty, gritty shit that I like that you do. Give me hope, man. But to everyone out there, all the horror auteurs, anyone doing anything, give me something. Because this constant regurgitation, reboot, you know, My Bloody Valentine remakes, remaking old Hammer films. Yeah, they haven't been out for 50 years, but you know what? Christopher Lee, rest his soul, and Vincent Price probably did a better job than any current actor. And I know new screenplays are hard to sell. I know that Hollywood's a tough place. But again, you can build a studio on horror. Just ask Peter Jackson and New Line Cinema. So, this isn't me just complaining. This is me having hope. I want to see new things out there. And it's cool that in comic books and to an extent in TV, we are getting a little more fleshed out things coming out in horror. But let's get back to the dog days, you know, the 80s, the slashers. Low budget, just fun. Don't give me cheap CGI. Give me some kids wanting to cut their throat on practical effects. Who's the next Tom Savini? You know, just coming up with a way to blow up a body practically and make it look good. Slit a throat, all prosthetics, you know. You hear all these stories about people going to a diner in costume and freaking everyone out and the cops being called. You don't get that with green screens and, oh, we'll add the blood effects later. Just pump out gallons of red corn syrup and let's have a hell of a lot of fun. So if you like horror as much as I do, or even you like independent movies, because a lot of times that's what horror is, get on board with this. You know, I mean, we can't have like a White House petition. That'd be hilarious. You know, you get like, what, 10,000 signatures and they're supposed to pay attention to it. But support what good horror is coming out. You know, we all vote with our checkbooks. If there's a great horror movie hitting theaters, and hopefully, you know, come this October there will be. Summer's always kind of a rough time for the genre, but get out there and see it. You know, if there's a t-shirt you like, make sure you pick it up. And when it comes out on DVD or Blu-ray, hey, come on, man, you know, it's a great first date thing. You have a girl come over and sits a little, or a boy, I mean, whatever you dig, or if you're a chick, I guess. Could be a girl or boy either, who gives a damn, just be you. Get them a little closer on the couch, turn the lights down, have a good old-fashioned jump scare, you know. I hope there's a lot of future left in the horror genre, and I hope to keep reporting on it. Thanks for your time. Any opinions you have, anything you think I missed or you want to spout your way off on, give it to me in the comments. Cheers.